very good evening. Welcome to Premier League Live on LFS this Friday evening as we start off the penultimate weekend of the Premier League season. And tonight we watch two sides that maybe in the early 2000s were fighting for titles, but very different affairs for these two clubs. Both European finalists, Chelsea in the Conference League final and United in the Europa League final. But in terms of the league table, at very different ends. Chelsea start the night in 5th. Before Villa and Spurs started this evening. Chelsea started in the top 5 and in those Champions League places. For Manchester United, after defeat at home to West Ham last weekend, they start the night in 16th in the table. An incredibly low position for Manchester United in the table. Tonight we watch the two sides. This game, of course, played on Friday night as Man United's final in the Europa League against Tottenham is in 5 days' time. Next Wednesday, you can watch that live here on LFS. We'll have that one for you next Wednesday night. But this will be a perfect opportunity to get themselves ready and for players to maybe fight for places for that Europa League final so far. Right, already this evening, as I've mentioned it already, Aston Villa taking on Tottenham, another battle there at Villa Park this evening as Aston Villa look to jump into the top 5. A draw or a win as it stands would be doing that for Villa, and they are currently drawing 0-0 with Spurs at this moment in time as they're in the box there as it just comes back out. But Villa at the moment just inside the top 5. And we'll explain it. We'll go through it all before the Chelsea-Manchester United game gets underway. That is an 8:15 kickoff tonight for you. That's 8:15. So you're not missing out on anything here this evening. Chelsea against Man United, 8:15, obviously because of Aston Villa Spurs. That was initially moved due to that Europa League final. That Villa Spurs game was meant to be on Sunday, I believe that was. But of course moved to give Tottenham as much preparation time for their European final as possible. And this game already scheduled for tonight, so there was no need to change the date. Just the timing of it was a little bit later, but better late than never, as they say. Chelsea against Man United, 8:15. Keeping an eye on this Villa Spurs game. It is 0-0, as I said, so far. So let's really bring you up to date with kind of what the fight for Europe actually looks like coming into this weekend, because of course we will have 4 games for you this Premier League weekend. Tonight, 2 games on Sunday, and then that Monday night game as well. All of the games we have covered for you this weekend involve sides either in a top 5 or an 8th place battle for European football. So let's show you what tonight looks like then. So this is before kickoff this evening in both games between Aston Villa Spurs and Chelsea Man United. So before either game kicked off, this is the way the table looked. So Chelsea started the evening in 5th place on 63 points. They're above Aston Villa in the table due to goal difference before kickoff. Villa's goal difference is +7. Chelsea's is +19. So a 12 better off goal difference for Chelsea heading into this one, which has them in the top 5. Nottingham Forest start the night in 7th. They don't play till Sunday. They're on 62 points. They head to West Ham on Sunday, which we will watch live here on LFS. Then in 4th are Manchester City on 65, Newcastle on 66, and then Arsenal in 2nd. They're not quite secured 2nd place just yet, Arsenal. They're on 68. They play 3rd place Newcastle on Sunday at 4:30. That's our other game on Sunday afternoon. So that will be a real cracker. The team that wins that game will finish 2nd heading into the final day. Of course, Arsenal, they win that game, they will finish 2nd no matter what happens the remainder of the season. They would be uncatchable in a sense, depending on what happens between Man City and Bournemouth, which is on Tuesday night here. I believe we have that one live in LFS. I will double check, but I do believe that is the case. Man City against Bournemouth. So again, 6 points separating 2nd to 7th. Forest can't finish in 2nd because of their goal difference is nowhere near the level of Arsenal. A +21 better goal difference for Arsenal than Nottingham Forest coming into this weekend, so that's nigh on impossible. But they can finish 3rd, as high as 3rd can Nottingham Forest. They're only 4 points off 3rd place Newcastle, so anything is still possible really out of these teams heading into the final 2 weeks of the season, and that's what makes it exciting. We want this drama towards the end of the campaign. We didn't have a title race, as you can see there, the graphic at the top of the graphic. Liverpool already the champions, the bottom 3 already relegated. So this is our last kind of bit of drama for the season. and it is setting up to be a bit of drama. If Chelsea and Villa both match each other's result tonight, we are heading in for a cracking final day, because Nottingham Forest will have the chance to go above them, and Chelsea will play Nottingham Forest on the final day. We'll get to that in a moment. But let's show you what Opta predicted for who's going to finish where this season. So starting with the top side, Arsenal, a 99.9% chance of finishing in the top 5 of Arsenal. Only less than a 0.1% chance of finishing in 6th. They can't finish 7th now, according to Opta, are Arsenal. Newcastle, 93.9% chance of a Champions League place. For 6th, 5.9%, and then 0.2%. Remember, 6th and 7th could be Europa League places, or they could be 6th could be Europa League, and 7th would be Conference League, depending on the FA Cup final result tomorrow there. Manchester City, who are in that FA Cup final, they have a 92.9% chance of the Champions League, 6.3% chance of 6th, and 0.8% chance of 7th. And Chelsea start the night with a 54.9% chance of a top 5 finish, 26% chance of 6th, and just under 20% chance of 7th. So Chelsea could theoretically finish anywhere in the top 7. As can Villa. Look at how tight that is between 2nd and 5th and 6th in terms of their chances. 40%, just over 40% chance of Villa finishing in the top 5, but also just under 40% of them finishing 6th, and a 20% chance of finishing 7th. For Nottingham Forest, their hopes and dreams of a top 5 finish seems to be diminishing. They've less than 19% chance of finishing in the top 5 now. Forest 18.7%. 22.4% chance of finishing 6th, but their most likely finishing position for Nottingham Forest is 7th with a 58.9% chance. So based on the way Opta are predicting it, the teams that look to be swapping around, the closest to be swapping around, are Chelsea and Villa, but they both have their best chances are finishing in the top 5 in terms of where they finish this season. But of course there's only 5 spots, and one spot's already confirmed, the other one is all but confirmed, and then there's 4 teams battling basically for the top 5, but Forest can still get there too. So it's all in the mix. But one thing I do keep an eye on is Chelsea and Aston Villa. Whatever happens tonight could be monumental in making sure either one of them either gets European football, or either one of them doesn't get a chance at a top 5 finish. Now, of course, as I say, heading into the final day, it will be exciting. Let's have a look at the 2 final weeks of the season in terms of the fixtures for these teams chasing Europe. So Newcastle, 2 wins and a draw from their last 3. Same for Manchester City, 2 wins and a draw after they drew away at Southampton last week. Chelsea beaten last time out by Newcastle, so 2 wins and a defeat for Chelsea. In terms of Nottingham Forest, they haven't got a win in the last 3 games, and arguably they had one of the easiest run of fixtures for the remaining of this game, remaining of this season, considering who they will be facing and what opponents they have. But no wins out of the last 3 for Nottingham Forest, and Villa picked up 2 wins after losing to Manchester City on Matchday 34 of this season. So the final 2 weeks of the season, Newcastle head to Arsenal, then host Everton on the final day. Manchester City host Bournemouth on Tuesday night, then head to Fulham on the final day. Chelsea host Man United tonight in their final home game of the season, and they head to Nottingham Forest on the final day. Nottingham Forest head to West Ham on Sunday and host Chelsea on the final day. And Aston Villa host Tottenham tonight in their final home game of the season, and they head to Manchester United on the final day. That's the way that looks. Of course, the tasty one, the one that we've all got excited about, is Nottingham Forest Chelsea. Now, that could be all but done by then, but it could set up for a cracking final day. If Chelsea and Villa match each other's result and Forest also win, we could be going into the final day knowing that one of those 3 teams could snatch 5th place, depending on results, obviously, further up the table. But it is set up to be a cracking end of the season and a cracking final day if we remain as we are. But who knows? There's always twists, there's always turns in any race in the Premier League, especially coming to the end of the season. And when the pressure's on, who will step up to the mark? Chelsea against Manchester United. It was a cracker the last time these two met at Stamford Bridge, with 2 late goals from Chelsea securing a 4-3 win in the 101st minute. We will see if we can get that or anything like that tonight when Chelsea take on Manchester United. Kickoff at Stamford Bridge is on the way next. Welcome back to Premier League Live. It is 11 minutes past 8 in the UK. We're at Stamford Bridge tonight as Chelsea, chasing the Champions League, take on Europa League finalists Manchester United. Chelsea, of course, have a final of their own, the Conference League, coming up in just around about, I think it's 12 days' time. They have that final against Real Betis in the Europa Conference League. But tonight, it's all about trying to get into the Champions League next season. And let's have a look at the two teams for this one. Starting with the home side, Chelsea. They start with Robert Sanchez in goal. A back four of their captain, Riece James, alongside Tosin, Levi Colwill and Marc Cucurella in the back four. Moises Caicedo moves into a more natural position in midfield after having to play right back for the last few weeks. He's alongside Enzo Fernandez, and Cole Palmer's in the 10. A front three for Chelsea of Pedro Neto on the right, Noni Madueke on the left, and Tyreek George making his first Premier League start for Chelsea at just 19, leading the line. On the bench for the Blues tonight, Bettinelli, Jorgensen, Badiashile, Chalobah, Achiempong, Anselmino, Gusto, Lavia and Dewsbury Hall. For Manchester United, it's Europa League final or nothing for their season, really. They don't really care about the final two games of the season because it's not going to really matter where they finish. It's going to be an embarrassing finish to the season for Man United and an embarrassing finishing position. They start with Andre Onana in goal. A back five of Nasser Mazraoui, Victor Lindelof, Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw and Patrick Dorgu. In midfield, Casemiro was alongside Mason Mount, who the former Chelsea player who returns to Stamford Bridge after scoring a brace in a European semi-final. And in further forward, Bruno Fernandes, the captain, is in the front two, alongside Ahmad, with Rasmus Højlund leading the line for United. On the bench for the visitors, Bayindir, Amas, Fredriksson, Heaven, Collier, Eriksson, Mainu Ugarte and Alejandro Garnacho. Kick-off at Stamford Bridge is next. Very good evening. Welcome to Premier League Live this evening with me, Kevin Ferris. On this one, as we start the penultimate weekend coverage of the Premier League season, I can confirm 5 games across the next 4 days for you in the Premier League, and we are so looking forward to bringing you the coverage here on LFS. And tonight we start with a side started the night in 5th, are currently in 6th because Aston Villa are drawing their game, would go back up to 5th when the game gets underway. Taking on a Manchester United side who started the night 16th, are currently 17th as it stands. Not a good position. As it stands, Man United would be the worst side in this competition, in the Premier League, that isn't going to be relegated. It's quite a stark stat that is for Man United. It's Chelsea in blue, it's Man United in red, and we get underway at Stamford Bridge tonight. What a way to kick off your weekends here on LFS and across English football this weekend. The FA Cup final tomorrow. Great action on Sunday and Monday and Tuesday. All building up to that Europa League final on Wednesday. And then the final day next Sunday. All games, all 10 matches kick off at 4 o'clock at UK time next Sunday afternoon. We'll be live half an hour before kickoff, 3:30 on Sunday for you. And of course, that is all the big talk. Liverpool will lift their league title on that day. Who will get the top 5? It is all happening on the final day. As Kukurella intercepts a pass there from Casemiro. Of course, Chelsea in their last home game beat off a massive team in red. Liverpool champions, beaten in their first game after being crowned champions. Were Liverpool there. And now Chelsea would love to end their home season with a win against Man United and give themselves a real boost for Champions League football. To be fair to Chelsea this season, they've actually only lost 2 home games all season, have Chelsea. Only Man City and Liverpool have actually picked up more points at home than Chelsea this season. So their home form has significantly improved from what it had been in previous years and in previous seasons. So that's a massive improvement and a massive plus point for Chelsea. For Man United, there are only 4 sides with a worse away record than them this season. They've lost 8 games on the road, just 4 wins. That is, only 3 sides have actually won less on the road than Man United this season, and they're the 3 relegated sides. So, yeah, quite stark contrast to the 2 sides coming into this one in terms of home and away form. Here's Madueke. Back to Levi Colwill, and who can forget when these two met in April last season here at Stamford Bridge? An unbelievable 7-goal thriller, and 2 of the latest goals we've ever seen in Premier League football, securing what was initially a defeat for Chelsea, and it all swung around into a win. Man United 3-2 up heading into the 99th minute of the game, and in the 100th and 101st minutes, Cole Palmer scored 2 goals to make it 4-3 to Chelsea. An incredible result just over a year ago. Here's Mazraoui. Down the right side comes Ahmad. And Fernandes will deliver. And the header by Mason Mount is looped up and into the hands of Robert Sanchez. Of course, Mason Mount, returning back to his former club this evening, joined Man United from Chelsea a number of seasons ago in July of 2023. Of course, he came through the Chelsea youth and was under Frank Lampard. Actually kind of broke into getting his Premier League career under Frank Lampard in that 19-20 season, at Chelsea. He was, of course, Frank Lampard at Derby before that, Mason Mount. But that big money move to Man United for over £55 million has been kind of injury-ridden all the way throughout the last 2 seasons for Mason Mount. He's not long back from a pretty big injury over the last few months, but since his return, he scored 3 goals in his last 3 games. 2 against Athletic Bilbao, or Athletic Club, in that Europa League semi-final second leg, and away at Brentford as well, getting a goal. That's a nice move from Caicedo. Here's Palmer for Chelsea, trying to feed it through, and the shot by Madueke is over the bar. That was beautifully threaded through by Cole Palmer. What a ball. And Noni Madueke sneaking around the back post, and he just floats it over the bar. Great breakaway by Moises Caicedo. Incredible way to just burst yourself up the pitch. Squares it across to Cole Palmer, around about 24 yards out to the cut of the grass. Spun the ball through the Man United defence, that were like paper thin, by the way, all the way through, slicing the way through them. And Noni Madueke at the back post, not tracked by Mazraoui, and he almost got what had been a golden chance to try and give Chelsea an early lead. Fabulous play by Chelsea there, and just unfortunate that the finish couldn't be kept down by Noni Madueke. Gotta say, Chelsea starting to get a little bit more consistency from their players. Noni Madueke scored 7 Premier League goals this season. His last goal for Chelsea came in that Conference League. Actually, his last 3 goals for Chelsea have come in the Conference League. The last time he scored a Prem goal was away at Manchester City when he opened the scoring in a 3-1 defeat. That was all the way back in late January. So, a good couple of months since Noni Madueke's found the back of the net for Chelsea. Certainly in the Premier League, as Højlund holds up to that ball well. A nice combination between Fernandes and Ahmad. Back to the United captain. He swings it across over the head of Riece James, out wide to Dorgu. Back inside to Mount, who gets the boos from the Chelsea fans as he got on the ball there. Here's Maguire. Chips it out to that left channel again. Brought down by Dorgu. He's got Mount on the inside. Finds Mason Mount on the turn, try to squeeze it through for Casemiro, but well cut out by the Chelsea midfield. And didn't hold on to it long, as Palmer gives it right back to Man United again on that occasion. Interesting that Mason Mount's being booed by the home fans when he got on the ball there. Dorgu with a delivery, far too close to Robert Sanchez to cause the Chelsea keeper any sort of concern. Well, of course, a reminder for you, as it stands, Chelsea would be back up into the top 5. As long as they match Aston Villa's result tonight, they will stay into the top 5 heading into the final day. If Villa better their result, better Chelsea's result, then Aston Villa will be in the top 5 heading into the final day. Certainly heading after tonight, because Nottingham Forest could displace either of those two teams depending on their results tonight. And Forest playing, of course, on Sunday. So it is a bit muddled, it is a bit of a mix-up, but what we can tell you is it's going to be an exciting final day. And I'm not too sure we can confirm the final day, what game we will be doing as our commentary game. On the final day, of course, we'll cover all 10 games. We'll keep you up to date with all the scores from around the grounds on the final day, but we're not too sure what game we'll be doing. I have a hint, I have a guess at what we'll be doing, but can't confirm it just yet. But it more than likely would be Nottingham Forest against Chelsea, but that is not confirmed yet. Mazraoui just run right into Levi Colwill there, and he breaks away Colwill, and he's still going. Trying to get the link up from the youngster Tariq George. He's still going, Colwill. The centre-back for Chelsea, almost playing left wing there for the Blues. 0-0 at half-time, by the way, between Aston Villa and Tottenham. Their game kicked off at 7:30 tonight, so they're a lot further ahead than our game. As Fernandes picks up the ball in a pocket of space and was forced into kicking it away quickly as he was under pressure. Wanted a foul, but was not going to get one from the referee, Chris Kavanagh. See it again. He kind of just kicked Enzo Fernandez on the follow-through there, Bruno Fernandes, rather than the other way about. Certainly not a foul. And just a Chelsea throw will come. Referee this evening, Chris Kavanagh. VAR is Craig Pawson, just to confirm for you. As Robert Sanchez kicks long under pressure. Nicely intercepted by Casemiro. He reverses it down the right-hand side to Ahmad. Space here for Ahmad up against Colwill. He's got Kukurella to try and help him. Kukurella steps in, perfect timing, and wins the ball back for Chelsea. Palmer on the spin, under pressure from Casemiro, and nicely tracked inside by Ahmad to sustain the Man United possession. Jonathan says United put out a very strong side. Didn't expect that for this game with final on Wednesday. Well, of course they will have 5 days until that Europa League final, but I can see where you're coming from. Risking injury, risking issues for players that would be in that final, but there might be some players battling for starting positions for that Europa League final, of course. And maybe that could be the thinking for Ruben Amorim, just to get that solid starting 11 for that Europa League final down. We'll see what comes of tonight. I can certainly see where you're coming from, Jonathan, and why they've gone so strong tonight, but at the same time, the best way to kind of get yourself ready for a game, I mean, it is a risk in case someone gets injured, but the probably best way to get yourself ready is just to play another game of football, just to build up that sharpness, build up that familiarity with the way you're going to play, because, you know, Man United and Spurs, I gotta say, I mean, 16th and 17th in the Premier League, so they're quite drab in terms of overall quality in the league this season. They're dreadful in terms of their quality in the league this season and getting results. But in Europa League terms, they've both been above the level, in a sense, in the Europa League, and that's why they're both in the final. And probably both deservedly in the final for their Europa League exploits. As Bruno Fernandes is down here. Or is it Harry Maguire? It was Bruno Fernandes was down earlier. It's Harry Maguire that's down, actually. Bruno Fernandes is complaining to the referee. That's what it was. Maguire's holding his mouth. We'll have to see this again. Yeah, it's Tariq George involved. Yeah, I can see why Harry Maguire's gone down like that. I mean, Tariq George has come crashing in trying to win the ball, but I don't know. I don't think it's a foul. Just one of those ones where he just caught a stray. Left elbow. Nothing malicious at all from Tyreek George, and certainly wouldn't call it a deliberate elbow in the face of Harry Maguire. It's just one of those things that happens when you're trying to shield the ball. Yeah, 100%, Jonathan. I think making too many changes can also backfire in the fact that you then start a team in the Europa League final. They are not in rhythm. They're not in kind of that flow state. And you go into a final a little bit unsure about yourself. It's certainly not the position you want to be in. You want to try and get yourself in the best rhythm as possible and your team in the best rhythm as possible. And certainly that's what Man United will be trying here tonight, I'm guessing. But don't get me wrong. There are one or two interesting changes that I'm fascinated by. The likes of Mason Mount coming in, again, against his former club. That might play a part, maybe scoring the 2 goals in that Europa League semi-final against Athletic Club would have helped him get in the side. But you know, you have the likes of Garnacho on the bench, could Kobe Mainoo come in, and then you've got the likes of the backups and the likes of Eriksen and Ugarte in that midfield as well. Would Casemiro start the final? So there are some questions over what Ruben Amorim does for Wednesday night and for that Europa League final, and who he does put in midfield, who he puts wide on the left-hand side or the right-hand side. Will Ahmad start again? Because they've had injury problems all season, Manchester United, and the last thing you want to do is overload your players in that front, because they've had that problem all season. But then again, you're 5 days away from a final. You're going to want to give yourself as best an opportunity to be ready for that final as possible. And to be fair to Man United, it'll be their 3rd final in a row. Their 3rd final in 3 seasons. That was a little bit of a wobble. A loose ball in midfield there from Chelsea. Actually 4 finals in 3 seasons. 2 FA Cup finals, a Carabao Cup final back in 2023. And of course the Europa League final. So they're certainly getting themselves in finals in cup competitions. Of course, they've won 2 of those 3 previous finals. 1 FA Cup and 1 League Cup to show for their last 2 seasons. Will they do the same this season and bring away a cup in what is probably one of their worst seasons ever in the club's history? Certainly in the Premier League era it would be, in terms of their finishing position. Mazraoui switches it out to the far side to find his opposite wing back in Dorgu. Down the left flank, Dorgu into the box. Calls of a bit of a handball there off Riece James. It did deflect off the Chelsea captain, but don't think it was a hand. Will be a corner. Gotta say, Chelsea haven't been at their tickety best so far. Man United have started a little bit stronger, I would say, than Chelsea. Look a little bit more fluid in their play. Corner here for Man United on the left-hand side. The first corner of the game. Right-footed, whipped in, headed away by Colwell at the near post. Back down by Fernandez. Lays it on to Dorgu and has to turn back. Shaw with a deep cross. Cleared away by Kukurella. Cycled by Mazraoui into Ahmad. Have to turn back again, Man United, just to regroup and recycle possession. But strong from Chelsea defensively on that set piece. Here's Dorgu. Fernandez, who will swing one in, and Maguire with a cracking finish. He can certainly score them with his head, but that was a cracking finish. Even a centre forward would be proud of from Harry Maguire. A great goal to give Manchester United the lead and stun Stamford Bridge. He stayed up from the corner. He didn't want to go back. And their auxiliary, unorthodox centre forward, strikes again for Manchester United. Harry Maguire. It wasn't just right place, right time. It was right place, right time, right finish from Harry Maguire. Is he onside though? It's going to be tight. Is Levi Colwell playing him on, or is he just off? It's a cracking finish by Maguire. For a centre-back to make that sort of finish with his first touch just to guide it past Robert Sanchez. Great cross by Fernandes, by the way. But what a finish by Harry Maguire, right-footed off the inside of his boot, and absolutely rakes it into the bottom corner. That is a cracking finish. But will VAR and offside ruin Harry Maguire's moment? It looks like on the initial call, it looked off to me, but I'm not too sure. It's very tight. It's either Colwell or is it Tosin that might be playing him on? They're the two deepest Chelsea defenders. It's so close. It's all come down to this for Harry Maguire. Will he be gifted a chance? Will be given that opportunity? And the decision is no goal. He is offside, Harry Maguire. And his moment of pure class is ruled out by the fact that he was a shoulder offside. He was offside. It looked it from the initial angle, from what we initially saw without the lines and without the fancy graphics. It did look offside, but obviously too tight for the assistant to call. Excuse me. And that was a moment, but a moment that didn't last very long for Manchester United. Harry Maguire's cracking goal is ruled out for offside. Might that just lift the mood for Chelsea? Give them a little bit of a warning sign that this isn't going to be a walk in the park. You might be playing 17th, but it's not going to be an easy affair. It never is against Man United. And these sorts of games, Chelsea of all people should know that. After what happened the last time they met here at the Bridge. Enzo Maresca's side just look a bit lacklustre. Look a bit lethargic. Not moving the ball as nicely and as smoothly as Man United at the moment. You just look a bit lost for options at times. Barring that great run forward by Moises Caicedo. Oh, look at this from Robert Sanchez. Where's he going with that one? Just about kept in by Riece James, but my goodness. Ponderous, if anything, at the back, and they've given it away again, Chelsea. As the flick on by Fernandes, couldn't quite find Ahmad. My goodness. They're asleep. Asleep, Chelsea. Couldn't hit a barn door with those passes. Terrible. Here's Cole Palmer. Wide on the right side. Back to James. Back to Tosin. It's not often Chelsea have less possession than their opponents, but they have had so far. 37% of the ball for the home side, 63% for Man United, which is not only unorthodox for Chelsea opponents, but also unorthodox for Man United to have that much of the ball. Here's Noni Madueke, bursting across towards the box. Clipped out of the way by Casemiro, but Chelsea keep the attack going. But Enzo Fernandez's ball directed back to Andre Onana by the former Chelsea man, Mason Mount. Yeah, again, barring that Noni Madueke chance in the first 4 minutes, I think it was, Chelsea have just looked a little bit lacklustre. As Nasir Mazraoui kicks it forward, flick on by Højlund. Fernandes right over the back of Riece James, not getting the ball. And then look at that from Enzo Fernandez. It's like Chelsea have never played with each other before. Another terrible ball. And it's not even like pressure moments. They're unforced errors from Chelsea. They're simple through balls, simple passes for Premier League players. They're just not making them work at the moment, Chelsea. It's just not coming off for them. 20 minutes gone at the Bridge. Chelsea 0, Man United 0. Could have been 1-0 to Man United. Harry Maguire was offside for the goal, the ball that he put into the back of the net. Again, Højlund trying to tussle with Tosin. Riece James there to mop it up and get it back to his keeper, who sends long. The second half, by the way, underway at Villa Park. Aston Villa 0, Tottenham 0 in that one. Remember, if Villa better Chelsea's result, they will jump into the top 5 tonight. Chelsea match Villa's result, then they will be in the top 5 come the end of the evening. That's the way it looks for the top 5 race. That's lovely from Bruno Fernandes. Out wide to Patrick Dorgu. Bursting forward, rolls it across, and Mason Mount sliding, and actually went out for a throw-in. It went that wide. I mean, he was stretching for it. He was desperate for it, Mason Mount. Dorgu spotted him in space, unmarked. As he took it, he just kind of slid while he was stretching for it, and obviously toe poked it well wide. So far wide, it went out for a Chelsea throw-in on the near side. Again, there just seems to be a little bit more room for Man United in those final third positions. Chelsea a little bit laboured. Here's Caicedo, who never looks out of energy, I gotta say. Moises Caicedo, give him his credit, give him his dues. Here's Pedro Neto. Back to Riece James. Again, back to Tosin. Colwell. Lift it. Brought down by George, but the heavy touch allows Harry Maguire to recycle it and Andre Onana to clear it away. Fernandes. Almost a bit of a hospital pass there towards Casemiro, but he wins it back, does the United captain. And now feeds it nicely for Mazraoui to Ahmad. And has to turn back again. Just a little bit sharper on the ball on Man United. Even when they lost the ball there with Casemiro and Fernandes, they again had the intensity to win it back, and it's that extra little bit of sharpness in their play just to get it forward. There's a nice ball darted down the left channel. Riece James on the cover against Dorgu. Neto trying to carry it forward, but nipped away by Fernandes. And again, that half clearance by Enzo Fernandez didn't quite work out as Man United have it back again. Chelsea not able to sustainably hold on to the ball here. Halfway through the first half, and it's Man United with the best chances of the game so far. Certainly the best chance of the game that was offside, but certainly had the ball in the back of the net. I've got to say, every time I look over at this Villa Spurs game, there is someone complaining to the referee. There's always someone complaining. It's either a Spurs or a Villa player. They're just constantly on the back of the referee. If I was the referee, I'd just start punching people. Maybe a bit excessive, but like, there's nothing that annoys me more than just players complaining for nothing. Here's Kukurella. Very wide to Noni Madueke as he tries to tiptoe his way towards the box. Past Mazraoui, chips it back across, and the bobbling ball hit by Riece James! And I think it might have got the post, because that was not too far away from the Chelsea captain. That was some effort. Bobbling ball, and James caught it sweetly. Oh my goodness me. That would have been one of the goals of the season. Absolute swung it. The way he connects with the outside of his right boot and it just swings back inside. My goodness. Come crashing off the post and wide, but that was not too far away from the Chelsea captain. That was mere inches away from an absolute perler from Riece James. If you ever remember the what's the one in the World Cup, Benjamin Pavard, if you remember the Benjamin Pavard effort, edge of the box in the 2018 World Cup for France, that effort just sweeps it across the goal as the fullbacks. Very similar kind of vision in my mind of that goal. That was the way that Riece James effort would have went if it had found the back of the net, of course. It was in the same trajectory. George trying to nip it away from Harry Maguire, but Maguire coming out on top on that point. And Tyreek George, of course, not many will know him. His first Premier League start of the season tonight. Has made a couple of appearances before, 7 previous appearances in the Premier League this season. Has actually scored a Premier League goal this season, scored against Fulham, and that comeback win against Fulham at Craven Cottage back in the end of last month. Tyreek George scored that equaliser for Chelsea in that game. But it is his first start tonight, 19 years old. And the Chelsea Academy striking up good products again. Tyreek George, another one of them coming through. the Chelsea Academy once again. Who knows, he might not be here come next season, but for now he's getting his chance to put himself maybe in the shop window, or maybe try and get himself into fighting for a first team spot next season at Chelsea. Sorry, Jonathan, didn't see your comment there. Not watched Chelsea much. Are they this poor normally? Not recently. I have to say, I mean, they weren't great against Newcastle. I think they were a little bit, again, ponderous against Newcastle. When I watched them last Sunday, I remember watching Chelsea and I was going, yeah, they're doing all the right things, but they're not getting into great areas in and around the box. They looked a little bit ponderous on the ball. Their build-up was okay. Their build-up was more than fine, but when they got in and around the box, they just couldn't find the back of the net. They weren't getting into the right areas to be as threatening as they possibly could be against Newcastle, and they were picked off against Newcastle. Of course, went down to 10 in that one, and of course, obviously, Nicholas Jackson not starting tonight because of that suspension, won't play for the remainder of the season due to the fact he was given a red card in that game, a straight red, not a second yellow, a straight red, so he was out for the remainder of the season due to suspension. Here's Cole Palmer and a bit of space in Palmer. The shot deflected off Mazraoui. It will be a corner. Usually Chelsea haven't been, certainly the way they've started, not usually this poor. Again, it was a little bit risky from Moises Caicedo, but he made it work, found its way to Cole Palmer. Palmer around about the edge of the box, just had the strike off the boot of Mazraoui and flicked over the bar for the corner. On this left-hand side, the first Chelsea corner of the night. And Pedro Neto is over it on this left side. Left-footed out swinger. Whipped into the box. The header is well off target, but back out wide to Neto. Neto flicks it back in, round the back post, headed away. And it falls with a shot, a handball call. Incessant calls a handball. There's actually going to be a free kick the opposite way. Enzo Fernandez incessant, and Rasmus Højlund looks as guilty as anything there. Is it a handball? I don't know, you know. I mean, it's not too much of a distance, but he's got his arm out, does Rasmus Højlund. He looks guilty as anything, and he definitely hits his arm, but whether it is far enough away for him to get out of the way of it, for it not to be a penalty. And I think Craig Pawson has come to that conclusion that it's not a handball, but I think Rasmus Højlund has got away with one there. Enzo Fernandez is absolutely incessant. As for the Chelsea fans behind that goal, it was as clear as day it was a handball, but it was just too close. Enzo Fernandez hit it from probably a yard away from him, 2 yards away from him. And in that sort of position, there's not enough distance for it to be a handball. There's not much you can do there, really. Reactionary. Not a handball, though. A little bit fortunate that time, Man United. A little bit unfortunate for Chelsea. That was nicely worked by Fernandez. Up in the tempo now. Palmer. Back to Enzo Fernandez. Flicks towards George, but not able to keep it. Caicedo recycles. A little bit better from Chelsea. James. Down the right side now to Neto. Up against Dorgu. Pedro Neto whips it into the box. Kukurella couldn't quite reach it. United clear away. And now they're going to spring a counter. But Colwell deals with it. Gets it rid. Gets it out of play for a Man United throw. And denies Ahmad a run down that right channel. And it's good covering defending by Levi Colwell. Finding that balance between defence and attack as Mazraoui tripped over himself there. The Chelsea player had to have the shot. He didn't have to, but he tried it. Easily caught by Andre Onana in his own goal. Well, so far, actually in the last 5 minutes, Chelsea have certainly upped it. They've certainly been a lot better than they were in the first 20-25 minutes of this game in the last 5. And they look a little bit more energetic. There's just to be that little injection of energy in them. I think a good spell, getting that corner, then that handball shout. Just up the energy a little bit in Chelsea. Remember, as I say tonight, as long as they match Villa's result, they will stay in the top 5 heading into the final day. Or certainly after tonight, depending on what happens against Forest. But A draw keeps both sides vulnerable. In Villa and Chelsea. See this one here, Moises Caicedo slightly got away from him, but he scooped it away. And Fernandes a little bit late there on Caicedo trying to win the ball. I think Bruno Fernandes has got himself a yellow card for that challenge. He has. Only his third of the season, by the way. The Man United. Oh, that's wrong. Not a red card. Definitely not a red card. A yellow for Bruno Fernandes. Definitely not a red. Just a yellow card. So a lot of red cards last week, actually. I was thinking about it. The many games that I did last weekend, there was quite a number of red cards in those games. The Aston Villa game, Villa went down to 10, Chelsea went down to 10, Arsenal went down to 10 against Liverpool. So there were a number of red cards last week. Kukurella to Enzo Fernandez. Wide now to Neto, getting forward quicker, Chelsea, and using that right hand side with Neto's cross. Might have been sneaking in the near post, but Andre Onana was alert, and we have a goal at Villa Park, which might get Chelsea not a little bit nervous, might be very nervous, because Aston Villa have taken the lead against Tottenham. Who would have guessed it? Aston Villa leading Tottenham, which means Villa are now back up into the top 5, and actually up to 4th in the table are Aston Villa. They lead by a goal to nil. Comes from a corner, round the back post, the header across, just flicked in by Ezri Konsa, I believe, got the flick on. Who got the header, though? I think it might be... Is it? Oh, Chelsea came forward there as well. They're in the quick mood. Casemiro blocking that one behind for the corner. Trying to keep an eye on both. Villa have taken the lead, but Madueke broke down the left-hand side here and it just squared across the 6-yard box. And Casemiro can clear it away. Chelsea try to respond to Villa then. They'll not know the scoreline at Villa Park just yet, but they'll know that they need to get a good result tonight. Well, Chelsea, they would be 6th as it stands. We'll show you the table in a moment, what it means for the table very shortly after this Chelsea corner. Colwell tries to break away from Højlund. The ball whipped in. It's cleared away. Only as far as Caicedo who tried to have a shot. Just square it across to Palmer now. Cole Palmer. Can he eke a little bit of space? Finds Madueke. Double coverage for Madueke. Can't get past Harry Maguire or Casemiro. And Maguire with a clearance. Celebrated by the away fans there for Man United, and I think they've got a throw in there. Have the visitors. As I say that, Villa, as I said, took the lead. Ezri Konsa was given the goal. Ollie Watkins got the header from the corner, and Ezri Konsa sweeped it in to give Villa the lead. So, as it stands, it will be Aston Villa that will be joining Manchester City, Newcastle, Chelsea, or Newcastle, Arsenal and Liverpool in the top 5. Chelsea would be outside of the top 5 if they fail to match Aston Villa's result. This is the table as it stands at the moment. Villa will be up to 4th, but of course Man City still to play this weekend. So Villa winning would put them up to 4th and right in the mix. But if Chelsea win, then we'll swap again. Chelsea will go into the top 5. Villa will drop out to 6th place. Or they would stay in 5th, but Man City would drop out to 6th if both sides were to win tonight. Right, so that's the way it looks as it stands. Villa currently winning. And that is all good for the Claret and Blue of the Birmingham side. At the moment, it is still goalless here at the Bridge with 10 minutes to go of the first half. A very even first half, I would say, in that sense, in terms of possession-wise. But in terms of going forward, Chelsea have actually upped it in the last 10 minutes or so, when Man United have struggled to get forward a little bit more. That Harry Maguire chance looked so huge. It was offside. Here's Palmer. Maybe targeting a bit more of a counter-attacking approach a little bit, Chelsea, in transition, because Man United have had probably more of the ball than we expected them to have this evening so far, and at the minute, Chelsea are maybe hitting them on the break. Here's Neto, breaks into the box, gets the ball across, but right into the hands of Onana. Again, too straight, that cross from Neto. A little bit more curl on it, but spun back into the box. Would have got a teammate onto the end of it, but just too narrow, too close to Andre Onana. He certainly got the pace to burst down that right side, Neto. Wouldn't quite say a pace merchant, because that would be a little bit disrespectful, but certainly pace is one of his biggest attributes. For Pedro Neto. Scored the winner in that that comeback against Fulham. At Craven Cottage. Back at the end of April. Hoyland and Tosin collided there. Yeah, just nothing in it really. The referee's actually given a foul for Man United, but I don't think it was a foul. Here's the Chelsea owner, Todd Bowley, the chairman. Of course, Champions League is what they expect. It's what they want. It's what they target. Maybe Todd Bowley's had a little bit of a haircut. Remember when he first came and first acclaimed ownership of Chelsea, he was quite scruffy looking. Not that I'm criticising a millionaire. I mean, I wish I had his money. But he looks a little bit sharper tonight. The Chelsea owner. Just less than 8 minutes to go with the first half. Still goalless. But Chelsea, you would say, looked the closer to getting that opening goal. After Harry Maguire put the ball into the back of the net for Man United. But, of course, offside. Ruling out that goal. Maybe giving Chelsea a little bit of a wake-up call. Because since that was disallowed, they've been the better side, arguably, in this game so far, the Blues, and certainly looked the more threatening. We know what Man United are all about. They can spring a goal from nowhere. They've got individual quality that can offer them something. Can offer them a lot. Nicely intercepted there from Bruno Fernandes by Caicedo. And here's Madueke chirking away. Feeds it down the left side for Palmer. Tracked all the way by Lindelof. Palmer back to Madueke. And now just recycles it back inside to Marc Kukurella, who will give it back to his centre-backs. And rebuild again, Chelsea. That's 15 minutes. There's the stats. Man United have had slightly more of the ball, but Chelsea have had 5 shots. Man United haven't had a shot in the last 15 minutes. But crucially, there's been no shots on target. So both sides, when they do get forward, are looking likely to test either goalkeeper. But as I would say, Chelsea looked the more intense and with the more intent to find that opening goal. As Rawi bundled over by his opposite number there, Marc Cucurella. Free kick to the visitors. Well, the reverse fixture between these two, back on Matchday 10 of the season, all the way back in early November, was a 1-1 draw at Old Trafford. Bruno Fernandes, from a penalty, gave Man United the lead on 70 minutes. But 4 minutes later, Moises Caicedo levelled for Chelsea, and they ended up getting the draw. It was that far back that Marcus Rashford played that day for Man United. Of course, that was way early in the season. He got himself a booking in that one as well. Why that's interesting, but it is. Man United haven't beaten Chelsea at Stamford Bridge since a 2-0 win back in February 2020, when they won by 2-0. Anthony Martial and Harry Maguire were on the score sheet that day. It was when Frank Lampard was the manager here. And when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I believe, was the Man United manager. It was. He was, yeah. That was the last time Man United won at Stamford Bridge. It was actually on a run of 3 wins in a row at the Bridge in 3 different competitions. FA Cup, Carabao Cup, and then the league in 3 times over that year, between February 2019 and February 2020. So, a nice spell. But without a win in their last 4 trips to Stamford Bridge, but 3 of those have actually ended in a draw. So Chelsea have only won one of the last 8 meetings at Stamford Bridge between the two sides in all competitions, which is quite incredible, by the way. Quite incredible. And it actually took the winner, the 2 goals to win that game out of the last 8 in the 100 and 101st minutes, last time out. So it's not been an easy job for Chelsea to beat Man United at home in recent seasons. And I would say Nottingham Forest, Aston Villa, even the others, Man City, Newcastle, will all be hoping that continues to be the same. And that theme continues to be the same, because they will certainly want one of the teams in this top 7 battle to really drop points over this weekend and head into the final week with a lot of work to do. As Riece James and Patrick Dorgu collided there off the ball, so we do have a stoppage for the 2 players. Gonna probably have to receive treatment for the moment. Still Aston Villa leading Spurs by a goal to nil. There's about just over 20 minutes to go in that one. So as it stands, Villa would be up to 4th, Man City would be 5th, and Chelsea would be 6th. Forest staying in 7th. But if Chelsea drop points, then they would be at the mercy of other results, of course. Tonight, Nottingham Forest could go above Chelsea and Man City if they win their game. Man City don't play the Tuesday night, so they will be the team reacting to what everybody else did over the weekend with Man City, because of course they're in the FA Cup final tomorrow, which I can tell you is live here on LFS, just to bring you up that lovely graphic that we did before the game. The 2025 FA Cup final, Crystal Palace against Manchester City, is tomorrow, 4:30 kickoff from Wembley. We'll be live around 4:15, around about that time for kickoff in that one. Looking forward to that tomorrow for you to see who will be getting. Of course, if Crystal Palace win the FA Cup, they get the Europa League spot. But if Man City win the FA Cup, then the top 7, 6th and 7th, would be Europa League places, and 8th would be a European spot for the Conference League if City were to win the FA Cup and finish in a European spot, which is guaranteed, along with Newcastle. See this effort for Riece James again, as the player still receiving treatment. What an effort! I mean, there's absolute curl with the outside of the right boot, just to hit it so sweetly. He kind of sliced it, but he sliced it. It just curled right back towards the goal. Just crashed off the post, but it was mere inches away from a cracking goal. Probably goal of the season contender for Riece James. And he is back on his feet, the Chelsea captain, as is Dorgu. So they're both okay to continue, which is exactly what they want to see. Riece James is probably the player most synonymous with injuries in the Premier League, probably the most injury-ridden player in the Premier League, certainly in the last few seasons. Here's Cole Palmer, feeding the ball out wide to Neto, back inside to Caicedo under pressure, and he gets it to Levi Colwill, and the 2 players back on the field now for both teams, Dorgu and James. Here's Caicedo. Now Enzo Fernandez, out wide it goes to Palmer. Neto, inside to Fernandez. Neto again, along to Caicedo, and now Palmer with a heavy touch. Well, nicely intercepted by Ahmad on the little turn there. Again, not able to sustain it. Fernandez giving it away. Here's Kukurella. Gives it out wide to Madueke. Charges inside, gets the ball into the box. Madueke cuts it back for Palmer's effort! And a good save by Onana, and over the bar by Fernandez on the follow-up. Wow. What an effort that was from Cole Palmer. And a great save by Andre Onana. See this again, lovely from Madueke, great intent. Cuts it back for Palmer, who sweeps it, trying to curl it towards the far corner. Literally, he's looking directly at the sidelines and spins this ball. Curls it, and it was almost nestling in the far corner. Palmed away by Onana, and then Enzo Fernandez skies it over the bar, but I think he might have been offside anyway, Enzo Fernandez. But my goodness, good save. And another goal at Villa Park, as they see players celebrating to my left-hand side. It is Aston Villa who've doubled their lead. So Villa showing a real statement of intent tonight that they are very much in this top 5 race, very much in this battle for Champions League football, and they are not going down without a fight. Villa 2, Spurs 0. It is surely advantage Villa coming into the game tonight with Spurs' efforts and focus all on the Champions League, all on the Europa League final. And they could be both in the competition in the Champions League next season. That's a crazy thing to say. Aston Villa, Boubacar Kamara has scored that second goal, so it is 2-0 now to Villa, which just strengthens their grip on a top 5 position. And Chelsea do stay outside the top 5. They have to do their job to change that. But City are the team that drop a place. And Villa climb 2 places by leading by 2-0. The positions haven't changed between the 2 goals. It doesn't really make a change in terms of positions. But it does make a massive difference heading into that final day. They head to Old Trafford on the final day to Aston Villa. So Man United could have a real important say in where the Champions League spaces go. Tonight they're having their say in keeping Chelsea at bay here at Stamford Bridge. That was nicely challenged by Patrick Dorgu. Trying to get on the move. Are Man United, again still in their own half. Look at Dorgu here, linking it all up, but on that occasion couldn't find Mason Mount. And now Chelsea break away with Palmer. Down the right side, he's got George making the run in behind. Gives it out wide to Neto. Pedro Neto trying to confuse Luke Shaw. Cuts back to Palmer, who will whip it round the back, but too high. And I think I might have took a deflection on the way through. It will be a Chelsea corner. Well, I gotta say, Man United have kind of fallen away as the half's gone on here. They started really brightly, probably started the better of the 2 teams. Thought they'd taken the lead, that was given offside. And then since that goal, or that goal that wasn't a goal, for Harry Maguire, Chelsea have been on top. And this is where Man United are vulnerable from corners. The second most goals conceded from corners this season. Only Wolves have conceded more from corners. 11 goals conceded from corners this season for Man United. It's Neto over to take this one again. Palmer's there as the short option. I mean, Levi Colwell's literally got his shirt off here. I mean, I don't know whether he's done that by himself. It doesn't seem like it. It'd be a very strange thing to do. Oh my god. He's tussling with Rasmus Højlund, and Højlund, I gotta say, he's got his undressing game down to a T there, Rasmus Højlund. He sweeped that top off Levi Colwill. Let's buy him a drink first. Neto takes the corner short. Palmer trying to dribble his way past Ahmad, and Ahmad, incredible bit of shielding. I mean, Jesus, Cole Palmer's riding a rodeo bull there. Jesus God. As they steal it back again, Neto gets it away from Mount. Neto! Last touch of Casemiro. Will be another corner. They are right on the verge here, Chelsea, just as we edge closer to half-time. My goodness. This game's gone a little bit chaotic. Neto to take the corner again. Palmer's there for the short option once more. Neto will deliver it this time. Headed away in the near post. Palmer couldn't keep it alive. And Ahmad gets rid. As we enter the final few seconds of the first half of the 5 added minutes. Just a few seconds of that remaining. Fernandes finding James. No way through. Past Casemiro. And there's the half-time whistle. So after 45, say 50 minutes of football at Stamford Bridge, neither side able to be separated. However, Harry Maguire was mere inches away from giving Man United the lead when his ball that found the back of the net, his shot that found the back of the net, was ruled for offside. Riece James almost did the same for his team, but his shot hit the post. Neither side be able to find a breakthrough in the first half, and at the minute, Chelsea are under a little bit of pressure for the top 5 finish. Chelsea 0, Man United 0 at the break. We'll analyse that and look ahead to the weekend when we come back. Welcome back to Premier League Live. Half-time at Stamford Bridge. It's Chelsea 0, Man United 0 at the break between those two at Villa Park, heading into the final 8 minutes or so. At Villa Park, it's Aston Villa 2, Tottenham 0. So Villa would be jumping up to the top 4. They'd be in 4th for Villa as it stands. They would go above Manchester City. As Spurs trying to break on the counter there. Not getting very far, but Chelsea would still be outside the top 5 as it stands. Remember, they need to win tonight. They need to match Aston Villa's result if they're to finish in the top 5 tonight. Of course, no guarantees they would be in the top 5 come the end of the weekend. But they would be if both Aston Villa and Chelsea win, because they would both be on 66 points, which would mean that Forest wouldn't be able to go above them. So they would both be within a shout of finishing in the top 5 this weekend, but depends on what Man City do as well in their game. So it's still a little under the radar. It's still quite a mix, but if both sides win, it could be a real question mark. If both sides don't win, if it stays as it is, actually, it makes it more interesting, because it means Chelsea are on 64 points, a point behind Man City. They would be 2 behind Villa, 2 behind Newcastle, 4 behind Arsenal, all Arsenal, Newcastle and City all still to play, and Forest would only be 2 points behind them, with them still having to play. So if they draw tonight, Chelsea, they could theoretically, by the end of the weekend, be in 7th and could be well out of the battle and could need a big result on the final day to even have a chance at getting a top 5 place. So tonight's game is massive for Chelsea. Of course, for the two teams that Villa and Chelsea are playing tonight, in Man United and Spurs, these games mean nothing to them. Their seasons are dreadful, 16th and 17th. Their sole focus is on 5 nights' time, when those two head to San Mamés in Bilbao to try and win a Europa League. Of course, Spurs without a trophy since 2008, and Man United, the current holders of the FA Cup. They will be the current holders until at least around about 6:20 tomorrow. Will Man United, they'll be stripped of that, but they could be lifting another trophy around about late May once again. We will see what comes of that. Let's show you what the scores are at the moment then. This is where we look for the Premier League weekend. Aston Villa 2 up against Spurs at the moment. Ezri Konsa and Boubacar Kamara are the 2 scorers for Aston Villa. 2 up against Spurs. Chelsea 0, Man United 0 at the break there. Then 5 games across the weekend on Sunday. In the Premier League, the final ever game at Goodison Park is Everton against Southampton. That's Sunday noon. Then we're live at 2:15 for West Ham against Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest could be reacting to what happens between involving Aston Villa and Chelsea tonight. We'll see what way Nottingham Forest react away at West Ham on Sunday. That's also Brentford, Fulham and Leicester Ipswich are also at the same kick-off time, 2:15. And Arsenal take on Newcastle, second facing third. Newcastle, if they win at the Emirates, would jump up to second, but Arsenal, if they win, they would be all but guaranteed second spot, depending on what Man City do, but they would be all but guaranteed second place, Arsenal, heading into the final day. So it's a big one. That's 4:30 on Sunday. Then Monday night we have Brighton against Liverpool for you. The champions in action on the south coast is Brighton. Depending on if Man City win the FA Cup, if they do, Brighton might have European football of their own to fight for in 8th place. That's on Monday night. And then Tuesday night, Crystal Palace against Wolves. And our game we seem to be focusing on is Manchester City against Bournemouth. Another side, Bournemouth, could be battling for European football if Man City win the FA Cup. And Man City could need a result out of that one to get themselves back into the top 5. So a lot of action in the Premier League over the next few days as we get ready for the final day of coverage next Sunday. Right, the table is the way it is. It's at half-time in that Chelsea-Man United game, and Villa leading by 2-0 against Spurs. This is the way the table looks. Liverpool 83 at the top. Arsenal on 68 in second. 2 points behind them is Newcastle on 66. Villa also on 66. They're currently winning. Man City on 65. They still have to play, of course. Chelsea drawing. They're on 64. And Nottingham Forest still to play. They're on 62. Into the top 8 battle, these 3 teams, Brentford, Brighton and Bournemouth, all in with a shout of the top 8. Fulham still have a theoretical chance if they can pick up 6 points from their final 2 games and hope the others drop points massively heading into the final 2 games of the season. They still got a theoretical chance, but it looks likely that Brentford, Brighton or Bournemouth would be battling for a possible 8th place finish that could be European football. Brentford currently occupy that spot on 55 points, just ahead of Brighton on goal difference, and Bournemouth in 10th on 53. Into the bottom half, where Man United and Spurs sit. Man United would be up to 15th with a draw tonight. That is where they would sit in the table. They would be ahead of West Ham on goal difference as it stands, minus 11. Goal difference for Man United, minus 17 for West Ham. And Spurs would be 17th. Well, it would be their 21st defeat of the season. They would be just 16 points ahead of Ipswich, who will still have a game in hand. But that's nuts. Spurs will be 17th on 38 points after 37 games. Remarkable. Remarkable. That's the way the Premier League table looks then as it stands. That's only as it stands. Of course, that can change between now and the final whistle, depending on what happens between Chelsea and United and the final actions between Villa and Spurs. It looks very likely, very unlikely, that Tottenham will be getting anything out of that game at Villa Park, and Villa will be getting a big 3 points as they look forward to the final day. They have a trip to Old Trafford on the final day for Villa, and knowing a win would and probably should secure them a top 5 finish. We will see what comes of that. Right, we're just a minute or so away from, a couple of minutes away from the second half at Stamford Bridge. And just quickly analysing that first half, I would say Chelsea have certainly been the better side over the first 45 minutes. They didn't start the better of the two teams, I'd have to say. The first 15-20 minutes of the game, they were quite lacklustre, they were quite lethargic, quite slow on the ball, a bit ponderous, a little bit loose. Man United looked the more intense and started the better of the two teams. But I think it started like that. Chelsea are this team, down the way, started really low. Man United started up here. But what they did was they done like that. That's not worked. Chelsea went like that. Man United went like that in that first half. Man United decreased and got less impressive as the half went on. They dissipated from the game in the first half, but Chelsea massively grew into the game and became the better side as the half went on. I made that very complicated looking for a simple little demonstration there of a little hand graph, but in the end, yeah, I'd say Chelsea ended the half the better. They were certainly improved as the half went on, but Man United certainly did not. They started the better but dissipated as the game went on. And as it stands, neither side can find the back of the net. Chelsea 0, Man United 0. Second half, Stamford Bridge on the way next. Do stay with us. Welcome back to Premier League Live. Second half at Stamford Bridge between Chelsea and Man United is on the way in just a moment. Don't forget though, tomorrow the 2025 FA Cup final sees Crystal Palace take on Manchester City. That's tomorrow. 4:30 kickoff will be live from around about 4:15 tomorrow for that one. And then on Sunday we kick off our Super Sunday of action at 2:15, a little bit later than usual, as West Ham host Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest side that will be looking to react to what's happening elsewhere tonight. And West Ham might want to spoil the party. We'll see what they can do in East London Sunday at 2:15. Right. The players coming out for the second half between these two sides. Goalless at the break. Nothing to separate them. What will give? I gotta say, Chelsea certainly ended the half the better. They looked the more likely and were certainly the better side as the first half closed away. But Manchester United hanging on in there. Can they use that to try and give them some bit of a boost for the second half to try and improve their performance so far? So we'll see what way it's kind of all plays out as they're into the final 4 minutes at Villa Park. Villa 2, Spurs 0. They're into the third minute of 6 added, so they have about 4 minutes or so to go there at Villa Park. So Aston Villa looking to be cruising their way to a top 5 position heading into the final week of the season. How could it be? We'll see if that's going to be the case as Chelsea get us back on the way with Cole Palmer. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications. If you haven't done so already, that'd be greatly appreciated. And we thank each and every one of you who's joining us tonight for this one. It's going to be a cracking end of the season. and we have some big news to come as well for you for what's the off-season will look like. Something about a Club World Cup and a bit of transfer gossip as well. Some of that talk to bring you over the summer. So we'll bring you that news a little bit later in the week. We've got some amount of finals, the Europa League final, the FA Cup final tomorrow, the Champions League final, the Premier League final day, and the Champions League final. Did I say that? The Champions League final. So lots of finals to come between now and the end of the season. Looking forward to bringing you them all here on LFS. So far, Chelsea might need to go into the final day looking for a win away at the City Ground. As it stands, it's not looking good for them. They need to find that goal. They need to find that win. That'll get them back into the top 5. They started the night there, but with Villa winning and them drawing, they're losing a little bit of ground. It's Tyreek George well marshalled there by Harry Maguire, but the assistant has flagged for a offside there in the build-up, so just a free kick to Man United. Welcome in, Evelyn. Great to have you with us for this one tonight. Mazraoui, nice little spin away by Ahmad, but well watched by Levi Colwell, who intercepts. Now Caicedo through the lines, nice and direct to find Cole Palmer, who spins away from Casemiro, and Palmer tries to squeeze it through, but it's going to be a yellow card for Casemiro and a free kick for Chelsea, I believe. Looked like Chelsea were on the on a good move there. We'll see this again. It was, yeah, he's got a full grip of the back of Cole Palmer there, Casemiro. Definitely a foul. And, a yellow card, according to the referee Chris Kavanagh. Second Man United player to be booked tonight. It gives Chelsea a free kick. They probably could have had a good advantage, but they've got a free kick here, around about 30 yards out. Palmer and Riece James over it. Let's see. Palmer, you have Riece James. I don't even know if Towson's in the conversation. I don't think he's going to be anywhere near taking it. It's Palmer or James for Chelsea. And about 30 yards out. Riece James, right-footed, hits the wall. Comes right back out to Colwell, but that game's going to be stopped as a Man United player's gone right to ground. And it's Bruno Fernandes. He seemed he was hit in the face. Here, we'll see this again. Yeah, he got it clean in the face there, the ball. Whacked him right in the face. Yes. I mean, it looked a little bit innocuous, him falling down. It looked like he thought about falling and then fell, rather than it was actually a reactionary one. And he's up and okay, but I wouldn't put it past Bruno Fernandes to do something quite like that. As the referee, Chris Kavanagh, is just going to give a free kick for Chelsea. Or is he going to give the drop ball? He's checking the Man United players for a moment. And not too sure what's going on here. Ah, that's what's wrong. Rasmus Højlund has to give on some jewellery that he had on. Had to take it off. Well, that's very strange. Rasmus Højlund had a bit of jewellery on, whether it was a wristband or something of that intent, I don't even think it was a watch or something. It was something on his wrist, and he had it taped over. Now, the referee has told him to take it off and go off to the side of the field. I mean, where did that come from? I mean, if the referee didn't spot it, I don't think he had it on in the first half. It was a very strange thing to do at half-time, to put a bit of jewellery on and tape it up. If you were going to do that, you'd do it before the game, but Very strange. Anyway, Man United down to 10 at the moment, as Højlund had to take that off. And he's brought back on almost instantly from that Chelsea free kick that really came to nothing. But they do have the ball here. Neto. Back to James, who flicks it down the right channel, looking for Tyreek George, but nicely stepped away by Maguire and wins the throw-in. Does Harry Maguire. Aston Villa have beaten Tottenham by 2-0. Final score there, and the whole of Villa Park in rising applause for their players and singing along as they have played their final home game of the season. Villa under the lights at Villa Park tonight, and with one game to go away at Old Trafford on the final day for Villa, could they claim a second season in the Champions League? That looks very likely. Currently sitting in 4th tonight. Here come Man United down the right side with Ahmad. Bursting into the box, cuts it back across. The shot is hit wide by that man, Mason Mount. And Stamford Bridge, I'm sure, was holding its breath for that second. It's Mount that starts the move. He plays it down the right side to Ahmad, who cuts it back across to Mason Mount, running onto it. And Mount, with his left foot, just tries to side-foot it into the far corner and opens his body far too much and directs it well wide of the goal. But my goodness, is it written in the stars that Mason Mount comes back to haunt Chelsea with his new club? Well, he had another chance there to try and do that, and that time he completely missed the target. So let's just show you what the table looks like after Villa's win against Tottenham. It means that Aston Villa will be in the top 5. Chelsea would drop to 6th as it stands. There you go, and Man City in 5th. So Villa up into 4th with that big victory at home to Tottenham. That's all eyes on Chelsea now. What can they do in this second half? A win would take them back up into the top 5 and put Villa and Chelsea in the top 5 after tonight, and certainly at least until Sunday. That would be the case. Actually, at least until Tuesday, because even if Nottingham Forest win on Sunday, if both Chelsea and Villa win, they're not catchable for Forest, and Forest have to win to keep themselves in the fight. It's Man City that will be the case in point. That's a loose ball from the back there by Lindelof, and now a chase on. Here's Pedro Neto trying to dribble his way around down that right side. Has to cut it back to Riece James. Caicedo lofted back to James. Now Neto on the right hand side. Pedro Neto back to Riece James again. Now, promising breakaway for Chelsea. Was nicely defended by Man United. In a sense, they got bodies back, they got them back quickly, and they got back into shape. Closed off all the gaps and options for Chelsea. A little more positive for Man United there. Well, if this does end a draw, it will be the 10th draw of the season for both of these two sides. Chelsea's 10th and Man United's 10th draws of the season. Of course, very different in terms of their wins and their losses ratio, but their draws would be exactly the same. If this was to end in a draw, as I said earlier this evening, three of the last 4 meetings here at Stamford Bridge between the sides have ended in a draw. 0-0, 1-1 and 1-1 in the last couple of seasons here at the Bridge. It's not too uncommon for these two to be separated, or lack of separation between the sides in recent visits, as Chelsea mess up that free kick and Mount comes bursting away with it. And here come Man United. Ahmad down the right hand side, there's bodies in the box. Ahmad cuts it back, it's Fernandes, but it's over the bar from the Man United captain. Fantastic again on the breakaway. It's calamitous from Chelsea from the free kick. Mount steps in, wins the ball, feeds it out wide to Ahmad, and instead this time Mount breaks towards the 6-yard box, almost identical to the Mount chance earlier in terms of the build-up. Ahmad then this time cuts it back, but it's Bruno Fernandes that's driving it onto the ball, and he skies it over the bar this time. But my goodness, Man United on that counter are looking a threat in this second half so far, and they've had two good opportunities once again to try and take the lead, and here they come again. Here's Ahmad getting the ball from Mount. Back to Mount it goes, who tried to cross, and it's well blocked down that side and out for a Man United throw. They're looking more of a threat in this second half for Manchester United. That's exactly not what Chelsea need. Certainly knowing the pressure's on them now. Højlund holding the ball up well there. The ball's fed in behind looking for Fernandes, but nicely mopped up by Moises Caicedo, who had to drop back and track Bruno Fernandes there. But again, Man United win it back, and they're tearing it up here down this right hand side. Here's Ahmad, bodies arriving into the box. He cuts it back for Højlund on the spin. Absolutely messes it up there, Rasmus Højlund. Could have had a shot, tried to spin and spun into trouble. Again, Chelsea clear it away, only as far as Harry Maguire, who recycles for Man United. A little bit one-way traffic at the moment. Chelsea need to step up the pitch a little bit more and stop Man United. Not able to at the moment. That ball was nicely cut out by Kukurella that time. Here's Caicedo. Through the lines to Palmer. This is better. Palmer crowded out. No foul as he went to ground there. Here's Fernandes. Stepping away, but stepped into the other Fernandes. It's Enzo Fernandez that has it. Challenged by Mount, but the ball will play on as Neto has it. Back to Riece James now. I think we're in a crucial moment in this game where it seems like both sides are trying to conjure something up. Be a little bit more aggressive, but the minute Man United getting more joy. That was nicely worked by Dorgu. Muscling Tyreek George, and Dorgu wins the foul off the Chelsea centre forward. One of those at the moment where once again Man United have started the half better. Chelsea look a little bit off it. It's almost identical to the way the first half started, where it was Man United that were on top. It was Man United that were the better. It was Man United that looked the more threatening, and Chelsea looked a bit lacklustre. The second half started exactly the same way the first did. It was nicely cut out that time by Fernandes and Lindelof. I think that one had gone out of play. Apparently not by the officials. And Lindelof gives it back to Onana. This is when you worry. So Nana clears it away. Mount with a flick-on header. Højlund tussled and muscled and beaten to the ball by Tosin. And now Palmer battling, trying to get away from Mount. Palmer out to the left-hand side it goes. Madueke up against Mazraoui. Noni Madueke at the byline. Chips it back across. No one there to get the header. Cleared away by Man United. And it's going to be a foul anyway on Patrick Dorgu by Pedro Neto. Free kick to Manchester United. Yeah, it was a little bit better from Noni Madueke, taking on his man, getting to the byline, looking for the cutback, all the right things, and then Neto challenging for the ball at the back post. Deemed to have fouled Patrick Dorgu in trying to win that ball. Neto, they just headbutted each other. Don't think that's a foul any more than it is a clash of heads, really. A little bit unfortunate there, Pedro Neto, that a foul was given against him. Just over a half an hour to go at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea 0, Man United 0. The pressure is on the home side though. Failure to win would leave them vulnerable, outside of the top 5 and with just one game left to play. A win would get them back in the top 5 at least until Tuesday when Man City play, but they will have more points, obviously, and the advantage on those around them in that factor will Chelsea. Good goal difference and the fact they would have a better points tally. But Nothing is guaranteed. A defeat for Chelsea would be detrimental. A defeat would see them on 63 points. They would be 2 points outside the top 5 with only 1 game left to play, hoping for a miracle of other results. As George breaks in behind, Onana brings him down, and it's going to be a penalty to Chelsea. Tyreek George with a run in behind. Man United incessant, but Onana claimed to have taken down Tyreek George, and the referee Chris Kavanagh points to the spot to give Chelsea a penalty. Onana claiming his innocence, the Man United players claiming innocence. Let's see it again. George gets to the ball. No, I don't think this is a penalty. It's a clear dive from Tyreek George. I'm sorry to say, but it's definitely a dive. Onana does not make any contact with the player whatsoever. That is a terrible on-field decision, and VAR should overturn this. I gotta say, that is a dive. Tyreek George, there is never any contact, and I'm the first to call her the goalkeeper, but there is no contact there whatsoever, and VAR should overturn this decision. It should be as clear as day, and Craig Pawson, the VAR, should have one look at this and go, ref, I think you should come to the monitor. He gets to the ball, Onana, he carries it away, and the ref is going to come to the screen. Chris Kavanagh. Called to the screen by Craig Pawson, the VAR, and I think this might be overturned. So penalty given on the field by Chris Kavanagh, but called to the monitor by the VAR to review his decision. What will his review of his decision entail? Yeah, I don't see this at all. Yeah, it's a great bit of goalkeeping, I gotta say, from Andre Onana. He times it perfectly. It's definitely not a penalty. I mean, he's having a few looks at it. Chris Kavanagh walks from the monitor, and the decision, so there's a crowd of players around him, the decision is no penalty. Man United relieved, but Stamford Bridge a little bit angry, but angry for all the wrong reasons. Andre Onana timed his challenge to perfection. The Man United players knew it right away that it was a great challenge by their goalkeeper, and so did Andre Onana. He knew he did nothing wrong. The referee eventually comes to the right decision, and that's exactly what VAR's up there for. I don't know what they're complaining about now. Yeah, it's a drop ball for Man United. I was confused there as to what that was all about. A good challenge by Andre Onana. He kicks this one long. Well up the field. Tosin with the ball away. Brought down by Casemiro, and now Dorgu on the left. Casemiro again. Dorgu again. Back to Luke Shaw for Manchester United. Well, there's been some big VAR calls, both correct, by the way. Tonight, VAR ruling out Man United's thought they'd scored through Harry Maguire. That was ruled out for offside. That's a definite foul, and it's going to be a yellow card. Free kick here to Chelsea down this left side, and Mazraoui absolutely taking out Levi Colwill, I believe that was, and it's a definite foul. Yeah, completely just ran right into him. I mean, there's just no hiding that whatsoever from Nasir Mazraoui. And I get he's trying to challenge for the ball, but he absolutely clattered the man. And it's a yellow card. And a free kick to Chelsea here on this left side. The Chelsea fans try their hardest to uplift their side to try and find a winner. Neto with the ball into the box. Up and away by Maguire. Kept alive by Enzo Fernandez, but the flag was up against someone in there in Chelsea blue. Free kick to Man United. That's tantalisingly close. Nail-biting for those Chelsea fans. I know this is a must-win game for them tonight. A draw or defeat wouldn't keep them out of it, but it would certainly give them and put them on the back foot heading into the final day of the season. If they want Champions League nights back at Stamford Bridge, I think they know the 3 points is a must from this game this evening to give them as much of a chance as possible. Before this weekend, before tonight, before any of the games on Matchday 37, they had well over a 50% chance of getting in the top 5, have Chelsea. Could that pendulum that was finally balanced in the middle, could it be swinging in the favour of the teams in and around Chelsea and swinging against the home side? Here's Bruno Fernandes bursting away. Lots of space for Dogu on the left here. Here is Patrick Dogu, chips it round the back post, but lifted and gathered by Robert Sanchez in the Chelsea goal. Lots of space there for Dogu. He just kind of lofted the ball into the box and it was easily gathered by the Chelsea keeper, but there is threat on the counter for Man United. There has been the whole half so far, really. Those counter-attacking in transition opportunities for United have looked their most threatening. Fernandes again wins it in transition. Højlund held it up well, but well cut out by Colwill, and Maguire couldn't find his teammate Victor Lindelof. Goes out for a Chelsea throw. Well, I've got to say, it's not been the most quality proficient game. It's not been bursting at the seams with incredible quality. There's been some moments of quality, but from both sides. Harry Maguire's goal that was ruled out for offside was a great finish. Offside, but a great finish. Riece James' shot that hit the post was a great opportunity. Noni Madueke at the back post had a good opportunity. So there have been ample opportunities for both sides to try and take the lead in this game. It's just not been able to find the net, either of them. And really test either goalkeeper enough. Only one shot on target for both sides all night. And that was for Chelsea. And that came when Cole Palmer's effort was saved by Onana. That reverse curling effort, that was nuts from the edge of the box. That was the only shot on target of the night so far from either side, from the 11 shots that we've seen. Quarter of this game to go. Goalless at the bridge as Palmer undercooks his pass, gives it away. Here's Ahmad down the right side. He's got Casemiro making the run through. Ahmad still going himself. He's brought down, and it's going to be a free kick to Chelsea for a dive by Ahmad, and he's going to get himself a yellow card now for that, for simulation. And it looked pretty simple. Was he fouled? He most certainly was. It was that obvious. Moises Caicedo pulled his leg away to give absolutely no doubt in the referee's mind. It's a definite dive. No doubt about it from Ahmad there. And I mean, Ruben Amorim's complaining, but I mean, it's never, ever a penalty. And the referee didn't get that one wrong. He got it completely correct, and Ahmad got a yellow card for that dive, or officially known as simulation. Changes incoming then for Man United, and booed off the field by his former club, Mason Mount. He's going to be replaced by Manuel Ugarte. And the second substitution is going to see Casemiro replaced, and Alejandro Garnacho's coming on. So Garnacho and Ugarte on, Mount and Casemiro off for Manchester United. Very interesting moves for United in that midfield. And further forward, of course. So you suspect Fernandes may have dropped more central, or they could go to a... I'm trying to actually work it out in my head. A 3-2-3-1? I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. That's not numbers. That's not numbers at all. I'm trying to actually figure it out. I think Fernandes will just drop in alongside Ugarte in the midfield, in the centre, and then we'll have that front three of Højlund, Ahmad and Garnacho. Caicedo. Out wide it goes to Madueke, who had to chest it to keep it in play. Palmer. Caicedo swings it out to the far side. Brought down by Neto. Pedro Neto cuts it back for Riece James. He's got open space here. He spins and has the chip. And Marc Kukurella's effort finds the back of the net. And Chelsea do take the lead. A fabulous header by Marc Kukurella. And could that be a clutch goal for Chelsea's Champions League hopes? Marc Kukurella heading past Onana. Man United have probably been the better side in the second half so far, but pegged back and put behind by Marc Kukurella's headed goal. It was Riece James with a smart spin on the edge of the box. He could have had a shot, but he decided to do what he does best and whip that ball across the box. And James did just that. And Marc Kukurella was there to meet it and to loft it and loop it into the far right corner. It's Neto that cuts it back. It's James that has the space on the edge of the box. But what he does so well is that when it's closed down on the edge by Garnacho, he spins like a bottle top, does Riece James. And as he spins, he gets back towards goal. He chips it across the box. And that's a great header by Marc Kukurella. And that is probably a massive, massive moment for Chelsea. I said that you need to step up, and when the going gets tough, and at this point of the season when you need results, you need a big moment. You need players to step up in big moments. And Marc Kukurella could be providing that moment for Chelsea. Chelsea 1, Manchester United 0. And Chelsea will be back in the top 5. And now, let's show you the table, because it is very different than what started the night. Chelsea up to 4th. Villa drop a place, but up overall, up to 5th. So Chelsea and Villa in the top 5 by the end of tonight, if both finish with wins. Villa have already won. If Chelsea win, they will join them. Man City would be the team dropping out of the top 5 at the moment, but they will also still have to play. As here comes Palmer, and he's fed it through for Noni Madueke, and it's hit over the bar. And that was another chance for Chelsea. Look at this. Bit of luck, slice of luck for Enzo Fernandez, and it's fed on to Palmer. Palmer in space rolls it through for Noni Madueke, who just can't find the finish. And he absolutely rakes it wide. And that's a huge chance to make it 2-0 and to try and consolidate the lead and add to that lead for Chelsea. My goodness. And they've come alive all of a sudden. I have to say, it's like a carbon copy of the first half. Man United started the better. They started to dissipate as the half went on, and Chelsea got better. The only difference is between the first and the second halves is Chelsea have found the back of the net in the second. But the way the game has gone, momentum-wise, between first and second half, it's gone exactly the same. Exactly the same way. Now Chelsea have something to hold on to. They were pegged back in the reverse fixture. They responded within minutes to equalise. They hope that they don't get a taste of their own medicine this time round. That goal for Bruno Fernandes in the reverse fixture was the 70th minute. Marc Kukurella's effort was the 71st minute of this game. Man United will be hoping the same type of storyline turns out like was in the reverse, and they can find an equaliser. But Chelsea on top with the lead. They will not give this up easily. 15 minutes or so to go. All the pressure remains on Chelsea just to hang on to this lead and to get 3 points out of this game. Whatever you do, whatever you need to do to get the result, to get the desired win, and to get that massive 3 points that puts them back in the top 5 and up to 4th. That will be massive for Chelsea. A final day meeting away at Forest would look a little bit more tasty, a little bit more comfortable, and less nerve jangling for Chelsea with a big win here if they can pull it off. And there's a man who knows both clubs, Chelsea and Man United. Jadon Sancho can't be involved tonight. Of course, is on loan from Man United to Chelsea, so can't play against your parent clubs, so he's out this evening. There's Neto tussling with Dorgu, wanted a foul, not given one. And Onana gets the ball for Man United. Long ball forward there by Lindelof. Nicely cut out by Caicedo. Kukurella. Caicedo down the left side for Chelsea. Maybe just trying to manage the game a little better, but they've given it away cheaply. Højlund, Ahmad, and now Fernandes looking to try and find the run of Garnacho in behind, who was shoved to the ground by Riece James. No foul. Garnacho down holding his face. It didn't look much of a foul. The referee agreed with that. Nice takedown by Neto, who was brought down and is going to be given the foul against Patrick Dorgu. And a free kick to Chelsea there. See that, if we can get a replay on that moment between Riece James and Garnacho. I don't think they'll show it, but initially it didn't look like much of a foul. Here is Pedro Neto, quickly from the free kick. Couldn't find Tyreek George. And now Man United want to break away. Ball swung out to the far right side. Ahmad up against Colwill, who timed his challenge to perfection there. Levi Colwill out for the Man United throw. They're doing as much as they can at the moment, Chelsea, to stifle and stop Man United. It's not that they're coming at them with a rate of knots, but they're certainly trying, Man United. Here's Shaw. Nice little turn by Ugarte into Højlund. Tried to hold the ball up, was actually giving it away after Tosin came and nipped it away, and George feeds it out wide to Neto. Neto arriving towards the box. Bodies in there for him to try and find. Neto chops onto his left and hits one, but hits it right at Andre Onana in the Man United goal. Yeah, tried to sneak inside Luke Shaw, and the shot was straight low and hard. Right at the goalkeeper of Andre Onana. Ahmad. Ugarte. Back to Ahmad. And all the way back it goes to Lindelof. Across to Shaw. It's all about holding on now for Chelsea. You've got to say it's pressure on Manchester City. The FA Cup final on their minds tomorrow, but return to the Premier League on Tuesday. All the pressure of having to beat Bournemouth. Here comes Ahmad into the box. Ahmad's efforts! Well saved by Robert Sanchez. Well, he looked like he was going on an unstoppable path there, the youngster. Chopped inside Kukurella, left him for dead, burst past him and tried to rifle it into the bottom right corner in the near post. And it's well punched away by Robert Sanchez. Good save. Good effort though by Ahmad. Wins a corner. Man United are not just going to lie down and let Chelsea win this. They haven't made it easy for them all night so far. They're not going to make it easy for them now. Corner, whipped in. Maguire's header, but that time a lot easier to gather. And this time caught by Robert Sanchez very easily for a simple opportunity there for Chelsea. Kukurella gives it away cheaply to Mazraoui. Ahmad down the right side. Ugarte, lovely flick on Mazraoui. The flag stayed down. It's gone up now. Offside against Nasser Mazraoui there. Assistant put the flag up. He waited a second or two, the assistant on that side, but did flag it. Change for Chelsea coming on here. Romeo Lavia is going to be entering the fray. And I think Tyreek George is going to be coming off. He is. So Chelsea going to try and hold on. And the youngster, the 19-year-old, with his first Premier League start of the season, is going to be replaced by Romeo Lavia in that midfield. So a more defensive approach, as you would expect from Chelsea in the final 10 minutes of this game, as Bruno Fernandes is also going to come off, along with Luke Shaw from Man United. And those two are coming off and replaced by two Man United players there. I think Kobbie Mainoo is one of them. Trying to see who the other is for Man United. It is Aidan Heaven. So Heaven and Mainoo on for United. Shaw and Fernandes off. Full focus now for them will be on the Europa League final on Wednesday night. Next Wednesday night, 5 days' time. Long kick by Sanchez. Header one by Maguire. That was a lovely little evasion there from Caicedo. Lavia down the left now for Madueke. Madueke's ball across. Hooked away by Harry Maguire. Out for the throw. Maguire, who acclaims the captain's armband from Bruno Fernandes, with the United club captain going off the field. So Chelsea with this throw down the left side. 8 minutes of normal time remaining, plus the additional time. Kukurella, Madueke, run into Mainoo, who couldn't find the ball forward. Will be another throw into Chelsea. So a reminder for you then that this is the way it would look at the top. With Chelsea winning and Aston Villa already won, they would be 4th and 5th respectively. Man City would drop down out of the top 5 into 6th, but they've still to play. They would have to win. They could draw and get back into the top 5 if Villa, of course, with a better goal difference than Villa. So City don't need a win, but a win would certainly help them on their cause heading into the final day away at Fulham. Remember, Nottingham Forest are still in that conversation. They could go above City if City fail, if they lose to Bournemouth, and in the end, Forest win. But City don't need a win, but they do need something out of that Bournemouth game heading into the final day if they want a top 5 position, and it would be at the hands of Aston Villa that are keeping them out of the top 5 at the moment for Manchester City. They've got more important things on their mind at the moment. City getting prepped for that FA Cup final tomorrow, 4:30. Live here in LFS, you can watch that one. Who will be the FA Cup winners 2025? Chelsea win it back high up here against United. Netso up against Dorgu. Not going to go to the corner flag just yet. Netso back to James. Inside to Enzo Fernandez. And all the way back it goes to Robert Sanchez. Well, Man United, this would be their 18th defeat of the season if they were to lose this one tonight. And they were on a terrible run of form, actually, in the Premier League. They haven't won in any of their last 7 Premier League games. 5 defeats and 2 draws from the last 7 Premier League games. Only getting draws out of Man City and Bournemouth. Their last Premier League win was away at Leicester back in mid-March. 2 months since Manchester United have won a game of football in the Premier League. That's why they are where they are. It will be an 8th game in a row without a Premier League win. And if you're the guy on TikTok that's doing the I don't cut my hair until Man United win 5 in a row, well, I think you will look like a grizzly bear by the next time Man United win 5 in a row. If they even do it in your lifetime, I got to be honest. The way things are going, doesn't look like they're going to be anywhere near 5 wins in a row anytime soon. For Chelsea, winning this one, it would be their 6th defeat in the last 7 in all competitions. Their only 6th win out of the last 7 in all competitions. Their only defeat in that run would be away at Newcastle last weekend that they lost but they'll have won five. They won 5 in a row prior to that in all competitions, including the Conference League games. Palmer. Back to Tosin. Switches it out wide, given away though from Tosin to Mazraoui, but he can't find Ahmad. Although Chelsea do get the throw in out of that situation as Kukurella headed off Ugarte for the throw. A reminder for you then, so that FA Cup final is tomorrow at 4:30. Crystal Palace against Manchester City tomorrow 4:30 here on LFS, and then on Sunday we start our double header of Premier League action at the London Stadium as West Ham take on Nottingham Forest. 2:15 kickoff on Sunday. So a great weekend of action to come for you over the next couple of days. Just under 4 minutes to go, and Riece James, the Chelsea captain, trying to rifle up the crowd. Throw in. And it will be a Chelsea corner. Throw in towards Palmer there, and he held it up well. And wins Chelsea the corner, which they're in no hurry to take, remember. Well, the difference 12 months can make. When these two met this time last season, Chelsea were in dire straits, desperate for a win in the final embers of the game. And now they're just looking to ease out a victory and see it out. As the corner was just rolled towards James, and Riece James had the last touch, which will be a Man United goal kick. Maybe a bit early on that hold it at the corner flag type of technique from Chelsea there, because there's still 3 minutes of normal time to go. And as this game taught us last year, it's not over till it's over. Man United could do it Chelsea and come back and win 2-1. Don't know how realistic that is, but anything's possible. It's crazy, actually, that one of Man United or Spurs will be in the Champions League next year. That's mental. Because obviously winning the Europa League gets you automatic qualification to the Champions League next season. If Man United win that against Spurs, they get it. Spurs beat Man United, they win it. And they get Champions League. It's crazy that one of either 16th or 17th place in the Premier League would get a Champions League place. It's mental. Absolutely mental. And there's a world where 8th could be a non-European place. The likes of a Brentford, a Brighton or a Bournemouth wouldn't even have a chance at Europe. That's a realistic expectation of Man United or Spurs. One of them will get Champions League, and if Crystal Palace win the FA Cup, then 8th place won't be a European spot. To be fair, actually, it wasn't last season. Palmer was on the ball there and fired by Aidan Heaven. There's a free kick to Chelsea. It is late from a Heaven there on Palmer, who maybe a bit strategically slowly gets back to his feet as we are about to enter the final minute of the 90 here at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea 1, Man United 0. Looks like Marc Cucurella's header is going to be the difference, unless Man United can conjure up some late drama at Stamford Bridge to really put a thorn in the side of Chelsea and really put a spanner in the works for the top 5 battle. Certainly for the Blues, it would put a spanner in the works. And that's going to be a late challenge, a very late one, by Manuel Ugarte. And the Chelsea players trying to square up to Ugarte, who's shielded by the referee. There as Ugarte gets himself a yellow card for that challenge. Very late one. It's definitely a yellow. It's just far too late on Marc Cucurella. He's challenging for the ball, but he gets none of it and takes out the man. It's definitely a yellow card. It's actually the 5th Man United player to be booked tonight. That's his 11th yellow card of the season for Manuel Ugarte. He joins Ahmad, Mazraoui, Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes all booked this evening for United, as we have 7 added minutes 7 more minutes of nail-biting, edge of the seat, nervous watching for those Chelsea fans inside the bridge, as they're going to make another change here. The home side, Malo Gusto, I believe, is coming on to replace Pedro Neto. So another one of those attacker coming off and defender coming on type of swaps, just to try and see out this win for Chelsea. It would be a great one for them in their battle for the top 5. Haven't been in the Champions League in the last 2 seasons, Chelsea, since 22-23. They would love a return. They might just be getting that return. They get over the line tonight. Is that throw-in to Man United? Oh, Lindelof just about cleared away by Maguire, but again, Man United causing their own problems there. Complete mess. And Chelsea mainly just have to ride this and see it out, really. Man United are offering little to no threat to try and test them. Certainly not in the last few minutes anyway. Maybe just Man United thinking about Wednesday night already. Was their focus already on the Europa League final coming into tonight for Man United? Because that's what their season really holds on. They can win a trophy in 5 days' time, Man United. Toying about. What are they doing at the back here? It's Aiden Heaven this time, but he was absolutely sold down the river by his teammates, and Malo Gusto is gone down under a challenge. Aiden Heaven is going to see yellow, the 6th yellow card for a Man United player tonight. There was called of off from the home crowd. See this again. He tries to chop back against Palmer. Gets past Palmer, but the heavy touch sends him towards Malo Gusto and the slide in. Oh, his boots are high, but he gets the ball. But he leads with his studs. He's lucky there not to get a red. I gotta say, in my opinion, he's lucky, because he does lead with his studs. That's dangerous. The referee just gives a yellow, and Malo Gusto's really feeling the pain of that challenge, and I don't blame him, because it was a very risky one, a very poor challenge by Aiden Heaven, and he got himself a yellow. And as I say, the 6th yellow card for a Man United player tonight, considering Chelsea haven't had a yellow card for any of their players all of tonight. So that's a massive kind of gulf between the two sides. Halfway through the 7 added minutes, and again Chelsea in no hurry to take this free kick here on this right hand side. The referee just sorting out the 10 yards for the Man United players to stand away from this Chelsea free kick, as they try and converse between themselves. Enzo Fernandez, Riece James and Cole Palmer. Who's going to take it? Well, you could have guessed that was going to be the outcome. Riece James rolled it, and it will be a Chelsea corner. You knew they were never going to deliver that ball in. And the corner, I think, will be the same. It will just be a roll out. Just try and hold it at the corner flag for as long as they can. I'm guessing that's going to be the case, as Palmer has Riece James right beside him as he sets this ball down in the quadrant. And Palmer is going to get himself a yellow card for time wasting there. He's trying to shout at the referee explaining something, but he doesn't want to take the corner, and he is now going to take it, as he was shouting at the assistant there. So it's a yellow card for Cole Palmer for time wasting, and they will win another corner as they rolled that one into the path of a Man United player. Cole Palmer gets himself a yellow for his delaying the restart manoeuvres. have another corner. Less than 2 minutes to go. Rolled it out to James. James will feed it out into space for Caicedo, who chips it back to Gusto at the byline, and then Palmer wanted a corner. Not given a corner. Goal kick. One last minute and a half or so. Man United can throw hell for leather. Maybe spoil the party here at Stamford Bridge. Final game of the season for Chelsea at home. 1 goal lead against Man United, and they've got a free kick there. Romeo Lavia committing that foul. So free kick to Man United with a minute to go in the Chelsea half. Chelsea provided the late show last year in this fixture. Is it Man United's turn this season? Free kick a long way out. Is there a chance? Left-footed delivery, loop towards the box. Gusto to simply clear it away as Marc Kukurella nips it in front of his man in Mazraoui, but Man United should have that one covered and do with a possible counter. Onana jinks past his man just about though as he tries to eke a little bit of space. Thumps it forward, does Onana. It falls for Garnacho at the byline here. Garnacho edge of the box, cuts it back. Ugarte lays it off. Ahmad stretching, commits a challenge and a foul, and Chelsea are going to go away here, and they're clean through. It's Palmer through to Malo Gusto. Gusto to finish it off, brought down. No foul as Onana reclaims. Is there one last opportunity? 7 minutes are up. Is Man United's chance gone? I don't think Mainoo's going to rush it forward. Are they going to get it? The 7 minutes are up. It's up to the referee now. How long's left? I don't think Man United even want to get forward. They're certainly not showing any intent to. That's a long kick. Up towards Maguire. Headed across to Ama, but there's a person on the pitch. I mean, tackled to the ground by the stewards. You love to see it. An absolute divot on the field, and well taken out by a few of the stewards there. An absolute numpty. I don't think he had any shorts on. I don't understand. Why would anybody on earth decide to do that? You're going to get yourself arrested. I mean, it's just not worth it. What are you doing? It's not even an important game. It's not even like a final or nothing. It's not like you just look an idiot. It's going to be a drop ball to Man United, but surely there's not much time left. Mere seconds, surely. Maybe one last hope. Lasting hope. Garnacho bursting down the left channel. Well tracked by Enzo Fernandez. Won back fairly by Enzo Fernandez. By the referee's accordance. And here's Lavia. Palmer. Over the top it goes. And there was an offside anyway, but surely there's not much time left. We're in the 99th minute. Onana with a kick. And there's the final whistle. Chelsea with a massive 3 points. Back into the top 5. And they really find themselves in a massive, massive situation. With now at least 6th spot looking very likely for them. They haven't guaranteed Champions League football for next season. That will come down to the final day. But what is in their hands is that position in the top 5. They can't be taken out of the top 5 before this weekend. We will see. We will see. They're in a very, very good position, Chelsea. They've got themselves over the line. Marc Cucurella's late goal, enough for them to win it. In a very tight game against Man United. Villa and Chelsea, with wins at home in their final home games of the season, see themselves into the top 5 with just one game to go. But we'll wait and see what Forest and Man City can do if they can stir up a little bit of a contest heading into the final day. Final score at Stamford Bridge after Marc Cucurella's sole goal. It finishes Chelsea 1, Manchester United 0. And there's the confirmation then for you of the 2 results tonight in the Premier League on the Friday night football. It's finished Aston Villa 2, Tottenham 0. and Chelsea 1. Manchester United 0 from our 2 games this evening, which it means this. Chelsea and Villa both into the top 5, dethroning or taking Manchester City out of that position. But of course, Man City still to play, as do Nottingham Forest. Remember this then. If Nottingham Forest lose to West Ham, then they cannot get Champions League. They're done. Chelsea and Villa won't confirm top 5 until the final day. That's now clear. Manchester City lose and Forest lose, it's advantage Chelsea-Villa. But if they both win, then there is a real mix on. If Man City win, they're up to 68. They would fly themselves up the table. But if Nottingham Forest win, we're really on for a crazy final day, because Chelsea and Nottingham Forest play each other on the final day. It's looking exciting, but that is a good view for Chelsea and Aston Villa fans, both in the top 5. But Man City still have to have their say, and at the moment it would be Villa on the chopping block. It would be Chelsea with the advantage, because they would be inside the top 5 no matter what happens when it comes to the final day, because only Villa can be ousted by Man City out of the top 5. Chelsea will be in the top 5 heading into the final day. That is confirmed. But they will not be in the top 5 after 38 games. That's not confirmed. It all waits on what Forest can do and City can do in those 2 games over the weekend. Right, speaking of games over the weekends, here's what's still to come. The 2025 FA Cup final is tomorrow at 4:30 live here on LFS. Crystal Palace taking on Manchester City. City in their 3rd FA Cup final in a row, taking on a Crystal Palace side who were beaten in the final in 2016. We'll see what can happen there if Palace can claim their first ever major honour on tomorrow afternoon, or can City add what has been a poor season on their standards, but can they end it over the next week with a Champions League finish and a trophy? We'll see. And then on Sunday we start our Premier League action as Nottingham Forest look to respond. If they want to keep their hopes of Champions League alive, they need to win away at West Ham to Nottingham Forest. That is for certain. They head to the London Stadium against West Ham Sunday 2:15. Right, that's it from us tonight. We get our weekend off with Chelsea and Villa both getting wins on the board, moving them up into the top 5. But Man City and Forest still have their say. What way will the weekend go? Who will be in the top 5 heading into the final day? Well, Chelsea know they will certainly be in the top 5 heading into the final day. But it might come all down to that next Sunday. Thanks for your company tonight. We'll be back tomorrow for the FA Cup final and back in Premier League action for a doubleheader on Sunday. Join us then. Thanks for your company tonight. Have a great rest of your Friday night and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.